push to revive SA's rail services. Now, communities from Mount Barker to the Fleurieu and right across the mid-north are desperately hoping existing lines will be kept for future passenger services. If the lines are ripped up, they fear rail corridors may never be restored. Hendrick Gout has our story.
South Australia wouldn't have been South Australia without its railways. Just ask Bob Sampson, current director of the National Railway Museum at Port Adelaide and once the porter who snipped the tickets.
Railways was the most single important factor for opening up of the country.
They took grain, minerals, passengers. Where they went, prosperity came along for the ride. Stations opened.
I've been working on the railroad.
The famous Barossa Valley, this is Chateau Tanunda, grew on the right-hand side of the tracks. Tracks now so overgrown, there are trees between the sleepers. You could wait here at Tanunda Station and never catch a train again. It seems a shame.
It does, and it should not be allowed to happen.
Russ Stigantz lives in Lyndoch and is campaigning to reopen regional railways like those to the Barossa, which last had a passenger service in 1968.
This is an asset of South Australia. It's an asset of the people. It should not be in the state that it is.
And this man, among others, is also trying to bring them back.
It's heartbreaking, especially knowing that this was a fully operational rail corridor.
Grant McDougall wants to reinstate a tourist train from Adelaide to the Barossa.
They'll actually be enjoying the fantastic Barossa Valley wine and gourmet food.
On board the train?
On board the train.
And he wants to use carriages like these, the famous Red Hens, once the backbone of Adelaide's train services.
I think the Red Hens are wonderful because of their history and the fact that a few of them have survived after all this time. And they were all over the Adelaide metropolitan area on all the lines with lots of customers.
We've got an opportunity to bring back 2 Red Hens from Victoria. They'll be basically gutted on the inside. A restroom will be installed and they'll be basically converted into the new Barossa wine train.
In the southern Barossa township of Lyndoch, tourist operators and retailers like Howard Whitwer are enthusiastic.
We'll definitely bring a lot more people to Lyndoch and the valley, and then we would have a greater flow of people through this shop.
And the customers agree.
So much benefit for tourism, you don't have to drive. It's great for everything.
You would agree?
I would agree. In fact, you could have a nice wine at some of the beautiful wineries around here as well.
Lyndoch's table cafe and bar proprietor and chef, James Moyer, is figuratively licking his lips at the prospect.
If we can bring more people up here, it's going to be better for the whole region.
Good, says Russ, but not good enough.
South Australian Regional Rail Alliance would like to see a commuter train to the valley and also a tourist train, and both can occur at the same time.
In Tanunda and through the Barossa, the feeling is the same. These people want their train service back.
Definitely, that would be a great thing for the Barossa to have a passenger train.
You used to go by train into the city?
Yes, when I was a little girl.
And you would like to do it again?
I would love to.
It could well be a good commuter connection to the city.
But?
But there's a lot of hurdles to jump to get to that stage.
Like all SA regional railways, the Barossa line, its stations and rolling stock, was sold or leased to an American parent company, Genesee Wyoming, which promptly closed the lines, stopped the service. That didn't seem to make much sense at the time and hasn't made much sense since.
No, it hasn't, because those lines under the lease agreement with GWA must be maintained in order that a train could run on it within a fortnight's notice.
You wouldn't trust a toy train on them?
No, that's correct.
Railway stations like Nuriutpa were demolished. This is what's left today.
It was about to be listed on the heritage list. It was demolished a fortnight before that was to happen.
And now part of the line may be permanently ripped up. Government is upgrading this intersection. The line runs right through it. It will not survive.
This is the last chance that the Barossa Valley has to keep a rail corridor straight to the heart of South Australia's fantastic wine region.
The government seems a little reluctant to increase infrastructure spending.
That's the government.
Government will soon decide what will happen to the rail corridor. Expressions of interest have already closed, but for decades, Liberal or Labor governments have not had regional rail as part of their election platform.